If you want to support the channel, then please check out my Patreon page to gain access to exclusive videos, take part in Q&As and watch my retrospectives before they go live on YouTube. Hello everyone, it's Oliver Harper here, back with a new collection video. Now, I've not done a LaserDisc one for a long time. The last video I did on my entire collection was a number of years ago. I recorded that via my webcam, not particularly good quality. And my collection has changed a lot since then. I've sold titles, I've given away films, I've brought in new ones as well. But I've kind of put the brakes on buying LaserDiscs at the moment because I'm only after very specific titles and they don't really pop up that much. And I've kind of got the majority of the films I wanted on the format in my collection. Of course, there's the odd Criterion collection or sort of box set out there that does intrigue me, but I mean, the prices kind of vary quite a lot on the format, and as more people have jumped onto it, and it's become this new kind of popular retro thing, common titles go for stupid amounts of money. And there's films in my collection which people try and sell for £150 when I've only picked it up for like £20 off, off a private seller. So, it's you have to sort of go into the format knowing that there's a lot of people out there just selling it because they think it's rare. Because it's a LaserDisc, that's it, or it's from Japan. Doesn't make it rare. A lot of these titles are very common to get hold of, but people sort of overvalue them. But anyway, well, let's crack on with this. It's going to take us, there's quite a lot of titles to go through. Probably would take over an hour. So I'll try and get it done as quickly as I can, but not sort of rush through it. So the first title is Black Rain, a widescreen release with a gatefold cover. Very nice. I don't think it has any chapter stops actually. Pretty good transfer. It's kind of late 80s, I believe, or maybe 1990. It's 1990. Yeah, worth getting hold of. I did do a retrospective on this not long ago, but obviously the Blu-ray transfer is far better than this. Next up is Barton Fink. I grabbed this as part of a lot a number of years ago. Obviously just regular chapter stops, no trailers, and it's in pan and scan. It's not a widescreen version. And there's a little bit of laser op on side B, not particularly bad though. But it's a good film, very good film. I really enjoyed watching this. Oh, action schlock Armageddon. There is a Criterion version of this, which is quite expensive. But I'm not a huge fan of this movie. It's way too long. But there's some funny stuff in it, like Michael Bay does have some, some of his humour does work sometimes. The effects are pretty impressive. It's one of those kind of late kind of releases on LaserDisc, and it comes with AC3 stereo track and a music video at the end by Aerosmith. Next up is Dazed and Confused. Very good film. Just chapter stops, no trailer, widescreen release, typical Universal sort of catalogue title. Yeah, it's not difficult to get hold of either. I got this years ago when I started jumping into the format. Oh, this is a weird one. Beauty and the Beast, work in progress. Gatefold sleeve. Try not to get the lights, trying to avoid bouncing the light off this. Yeah, this is a title that is prone to laser op. Most copies got laser op, I think. I don't think I've met any other collector where their version's clean. This is kind of the one I think they showed at the Cannes Film Festival. So it's got a lot of, it's basically incomplete, but it's like an extended cut. Just sort of demonstrated how good the film looked in its sort of kind of rough state in areas. But there is, you'll see, there is scenes that are complete. Next up is The Mask of Zorro. I really enjoyed this film, great movie. Production notes on the back, widescreen release, Dolby Digital soundtrack, and I don't think it comes with a trailer. No, it doesn't. No, but there was a new 4K Blu-ray coming out shortly, so I'm definitely going to buy that because this movie was well, has one of the best explosions ever at the end. Next up is Dark Crystal. This is weirdly, it's got a Japanese kind of sticker on the front there. This was kind of repurposed in Japan, but I mean, it's not a Japanese. Doesn't have Japanese subtitles, so it's just a US version that's kind of sold in Japan. Yeah, chapter stops, widescreen version. I think it's pretty common, this version. Next up is LA Confidential. A great movie, fantastic soundtrack by Jerry Goldsmith, jazzy score. And yeah, chapter stops. Oh, it's got a featurette at the end called Off the Record. Yeah, I've been meaning to sort of cover this actually, because it is a good film. And it's got very good cast. Obviously, comes in AC3 stereo as well, so Dolby Digital. Signature collection, Apollo 13. This is a great movie as well. Great gatefold cover. Got Ron Howard's signature somewhere in there. Chapter stops, making of featurette, commentary, all that jazz. You know, basically all these extras have been ported over to the DVD and Blu-ray. I think there's a commentary. Maybe I'm talking out my arse. Yes, there is a commentary by Ron Howard, and behind-the-scenes photos and stuff. So yeah, very good release. Oh, this is a Japanese title. This is, oh, get a bit of dust on there. Masters of the Universe. Now this is the only widescreen version of the He-Man movie you can get on the format. Very cool cover and very cool design on the back. But the picture transfer is rubbish, despite it being in widescreen. It looks like a bootleg when you're watching it. The colours are all like washed out. It's, you know, very grainy. The best version to own of this is the US version, which is the pan and scan version. It's a 185 movie, so you're not losing too much of the picture. But the US version has the best picture and sound. It is really good for a late 80s release. Speaking of that, here it is. This is the US version. There's an awful Warner Brothers grey slip down the side. Chapter stops, no trailer, anything like that. Yeah, best transfer of the movie. This is quite pricey on a second-hand market. A lot of these, the late Warner ones like Superman 4, Lethal Weapon, are quite common, but this one is not as common for some reason. Maybe they didn't make as many LaserDiscs, or a lot of collectors keep it in their collection. Next up is The Hidden, great horror movie. I think it's a mono soundtrack on this. It comes with extras, commentary by the director, special effects, production footage, trailers. I think a lot of this stuff was ported over to the sort of DVD and Blu-rays. I'm sure there's a Blu-ray. Nice gatefold sleeve as well. I was really surprised by this because I hadn't seen the movie before, and I saw it on eBay going for like £10. Everyone was kind of ignoring it, and I grabbed it, and yeah, I was really impressed with it. It was a really good movie. I think there's a review by Good Bad Flicks. Cecil covered that. I think he did a watch party recently for the In Search of Tomorrow Discord, so it's probably worth listening to that. Next up is The Muppets Christmas Carol. Now this has the, I think other future releases cut out some of the footage, like there's a musical number or something like that they cut out. This has, apparently this one's complete. It's the letterbox version, and yeah, normal chapter stops, Dolby stereo release. So yeah, I mean, you know, this is a popular title for fans of the Muppets and Christmas movies in general, but I don't tend to watch this at Christmas. I quite enjoyed it, but I prefer other Christmas Carol movies that have been done numerous times. Next up, horror classic from the 90s, Event Horizon. Fantastic transfer, THX I believe. The THX? No, it's not actually. No, it's Dolby Digital widescreen release, really good picture, and still pretty scary movie. It's a shame that we'll never get to see the horrific extended cut. But I mean, I think there's a few deleted scenes put on the DVD and Blu-ray which were kind of VHS quality. But yeah, worth getting hold of if you've got a LaserDisc player. Oh, GoldenEye. Now this is a great release. Fantastic picture and sound, and THX, loads of extras, and a nice gatefold cover with I think there's a great photo there of Derek Meddings. And yeah, I mean, it comes with loads of trailers, like TV spots. There's like 18 of them. Ridiculous. Yeah, this was a title I played a lot to show off the format in the early 2000s with my friends once I got an RF demodulator, so you can get the Dolby Digital soundtrack. There's a DTS version of this film, but I think that's a bit more difficult to find, but this one's very common. It has a very aggressive bass soundtrack, I think a bit too aggressive. But yeah, one to get hold of if you're into the format. Next up is Rain Man, a great movie with Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman. Special features, deluxe letterbox transfer. Well, it's not really a special feature, but you do get a commentary by the director and theatrical trailer. And a nice gatefold sleeve as well. Very cool. I need to watch this movie again, actually. Austin Powers, another great transfer, late 90s release, special edition as well. So you get you get commentary, deleted scenes, storyboards, Dolby Digital soundtrack, but the aspect ratio is incorrect. And the film was a 2:35 to 1. This is more of a 2:20, something like that. This is 2:1 theatrical aspect ratio, but it's a fantastic transfer. It's really good to sort of demonstrate the format if you've got a good player as well. It looks very close to the DVD. Classic B-movie schlock, Nemesis, directed by Albert Pyun. I quite enjoyed this movie. Very cheap and kind of over the top, but it was really well directed actually by Albert Pyun. I think it's probably one of his better movies. Comes with a making of and a theatrical trailer. I think the making of has been transferred to other formats over the years, but yeah, I think there's a box set on Blu-ray. We can get like Nemesis 1 to 4, something like that. But yeah, this is definitely the best one out of the bunch, I believe. Some of these titles will have their plastic sleeve on because some of them I just can't take them off. And I took most of them off to sort of avoid reflection. So coming up, we've got Episode 1, Star Wars, The Phantom Menace. Not bad, gatefold cover. No extras, just a widescreen release with Dolby Digital EX put on it. Pretty good transfer. It's a little bit edge enhanced. It looks very digital, but the surround sound tracks are incredible. Yeah, this is. I think I prefer the sound mix on this LaserDisc more than the Blu-ray of it, because this was the only way to get the Phantom Menace at the time in a high resolution format. Because they obviously George Lucas had delayed the sort of DVD version of it. So all people could get was a widescreen tape and this. So a lot of people were importing this. It's quite a common title, so don't pay too much for it. Next up is TC 2000. Action film with Billy Blanks and Matthias Hughes. It's not a very good film, but quite enjoyable to watch. Yeah, I don't think it's from widescreen. I think it's another pan and scan title. Yeah, pan and scan title. Picture transfer is not too bad actually. Comes with chapter stops, nothing else spectacular about it. Oh, here we go. Fist of the North Star, the Japanese version. Now I bought this just because the cover looked great, and it comes with quite a cool insert inside the disc. Comes with audio track, English and Japanese, but the Japanese one's dubbed over with the actors who did the voiceover in the cartoon, which is quite cool. And it comes with that. So it's quite a cool little extra thing they threw in. Terrible movie. And the picture transfer is identical to the US version, which I've got. Because someone did warn me when I did like a mini update video when I had the US title, and they said, don't bother with the Japanese one, it's the same transfer. And I was like, okay. But I still bought it anyway, because the cover's so cool. But yeah. Aha, now this one is overpriced on eBay. Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, the Japanese one. So like the UK, they called it Hero Turtles, not Ninja. This is the only widescreen version you can get of Turtles on LaserDisc, and the picture transfer is muddy and orangey. It's not very good. So I'd stick to the pan and scan US version. Some guy's trying to sell this for £150 on eBay. I bought this for 20 quid. So don't pay too much for it if you really want it in your collection. Next up is Rising Sun. Good action movie, I think based on the Michael Crichton book. Chapter stops, widescreen, stereo surround sound. The picture transfer is actually not bad on this. I quite liked it. THX release as well. Some production notes on the back as well. Next up is Funny Bones, comedy based in the UK, like Blackpool. It's got Oliver Platt in it, Joe Lewis and Lee Evans. I saw this late on BBC Two one night. Thought it was pretty funny. Watched it again when I got the LaserDisc, and it was kind of all right, not quite as good as I remembered, and a bit too long as well, like over 2 hours. Yeah, deluxe letterbox and chapter stops. Nothing else particularly special about this. Pan and scan, Flight of the Navigator. Transfer's not too bad. Comes to chapter stops. Sadly, I don't think there's a widescreen version of this movie, but it's obviously been re-released a number of times. And there's a recent special edition on Blu-ray, which I got hold of, which I've not watched yet. Classic movie, great score by Alan Silvestri. Very synth, very heavy synth throughout. Next up is Striking Distance. Not a very good action movie starring Bruce Willis, but it has a fantastic score by Brad Fiedel. Very jazzy score, it's wonderful. Check it out on YouTube, it's amazing. I think this has got a little bit of laser rot. I think it's a common title, or prone to laser rot, because it's a Sony pressing, production notes on the back and chapter stops. I don't think there's no double digital, anything like that, no, but yeah. You know, if you can get it clean, then maybe get hold of it cheap, but yeah, it's kind of a one to avoid, really. Oh, the first of the Superman LaserDiscs to pop up is Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, the US version, with chapter stops, pan and scan. Pretty good picture. It's just a little bit sharper than the VHS version, really. But it's not as, the picture and the sound is nowhere near as spectacular as the He-Man LaserDisc. But yes, this has gone up in price quite a lot as well. Don't know why. Maybe just because it's Superman. Next up is The Jungle Book, directed by Rob Cohen, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. Stephen Summers, sorry. Starring Jason Scott Lee, just after, I believe, the success of Dragon the Bruce Lee story. Pretty good movie. Picture transfer is a bit noisy. And I think it had a little bit of laser rot on side B. I really enjoyed this film when I saw it as a kid, and sort of revisiting it, it was like, yeah, it's still kind of pretty good. I think this Jungle Book, yeah, I think Jungle Book and Deep Rising and The Mummy are sort of Stephen Summers' kind of best movies. Aha! Next up is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, the widescreen version, gatefold cover. Oh, very cool. And it comes with a music video by Bryan Adams at the beginning. Actually, pretty good transfer. Actually, I quite enjoyed this release, and the music video looks fantastic because pan and scan, because the music's shot in pan and scan, so it's 4:3. Pan and 4:3 stuff. It always looks really nice on LaserDisc. Once you go super wide and zoom in on the picture, it always looks a bit like too soft and not particularly brilliant. But yeah, this is a quite nice release and quite common as well. So get hold of it if you can. Oh. Next up is the widescreen release of Superman 4. Comes with 2 extra scenes, which are in an international cut, with Superman saving his own children, actually, in a tornado sequence and stopping a Russian missile blasting off in front of the commanders. Picture transfer is not very good, though. Kind of washed out sort of picture, and it's not the proper widescreen. It's not 2:35:1. It's more of a 2:20. Comes with production notes as well. Actually, a lot of people are selling this on eBay, actually, so it's becoming quite common now. It used to be quite difficult to get hold of. But yeah, it's only worth having because it's got the 2 extra scenes, and it starts with the Canon logo and not the Warner Brothers one. Ah, the widescreen release of RoboCop 3. Comes with production notes, obviously chapter stops, Dolby Surround, no trailer. The transfer is pretty good, actually. I was quite impressed with this. This is very common. I think they pushed a lot of these out at the time. I'm trying to complete the set, you see, of RoboCop widescreen discs. There's RoboCop 1 and 2 I need to get, but the later pressings from like late, I think from '94. Most of the ones on eBay are the Japanese ones that are kind of earlier pressings, and the transfers aren't very good. So I'm trying to complete the set. So this is like, yeah, super cheap. Loads of people trying to get rid of this because it's not a very good film. Next up is Double Team, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dennis Rodman. Yeah, not a brilliant film, but it's entertaining nonetheless. Very silly. I remember when this came out, I was so desperate to see the new Van Damme movies, and I was just a bit gutted by the quality of this. The picture transfer is not too bad. It's a little bit noisy in areas as well. I think it comes with Dolby Digital. I don't think it does. No, it's just Dolby Surround. Ugh. And also, I think the US version only has Dolby Surround. Also, the US version is, you know, one of those laser rotted titles, so that's why I got it on Japanese LaserDisc, and they got it for like a tenner, so it wasn't too pricey. Next up, The Madness of King George. Very good film. Dolby Digital soundtrack, chapter stops, widescreen release. Got a bit of laser rot on side B, which is a bit annoying. Very funny movie, worth watching, but just to see his performance, because he's just, you know, watching him, you know, go completely mental and throughout the movie. 12 Monkeys. Now there is a signature collection release of this, and I think a DTS version. It's just a regular Universal back catalogue title. Chapter stops. That's all you get. And not even production notes really, just a bit of information on the back about the movie. Still a very good transfer actually. The transfer would be the same for the signature version and the DTS one. So it will come from the same pressing plant, I presume, or same picture. It may even have THX on it, but not be advertised. Anyway, yeah, very common title. Late release, Pleasantville, widescreen LaserDisc, loads of extras, commentaries, music video, behind the scenes featurette, Dolby Digital sound, very good transfer, and it's an amazing movie. If you've never seen it, watch it ASAP. Assassins, Richard Donner's kind of sort of failed action movie starring Stallone and Antonio Banderas, written by the Wachowskis. The script was kind of changed a lot, which disappointed them. It's an okay movie. I think it's kind of been appreciated more over the years. So I think it's maybe a movie I should revisit soon, because I've not seen it for a long time. The widescreen release of Superman the movie. This is, used to be the one everyone used to go for, because it was the, only version to see Superman in widescreen in a sort of high resolution format before the DVD. In the UK, they released it on tape, the widescreen version, but everywhere else sort of had to make do with trying to import the LaserDisc. Next up is the pan and scan version of Street Fighter the movie. Apparently, Stephen E. D'Souza said this was closer to how the film was. It looks closer to the video game or something like that, he said, compared to the widescreen version, because it's shot in Super 35, so you're not losing too much of the picture when it gets pan and scanned. Yeah, actually a very good picture quality on this. I kind of use this when I set up my do the picture settings with Video Essentials disc, and then sort of play it back with this, because it's just I'm very familiar with the movie and know what the colours look like. So yeah, it's always quite handy to use this title. Here we have a remastered version of Superman 2 pan and scan. So this was Warner Bros. Just put it out again in 4:3, but with a new picture transfer, chapter stops, etc. This title isn't that common, so often it's the widescreen version you see on eBay, but this one is a little bit more difficult to find. But yeah, it's quite a nice little alternative, I suppose, to have than the widescreen version. And here we go. This is the widescreen version of Superman 2. Chapter stops and theatrical trailer. Picture transfer is pretty good. It's a little bit soft, but the surround sound mix was better than the old DVDs, like 2.0 stereo mix. So this is the one I was stuck on instead of the DVD, until of course the Blu-ray came out with the 5.1. Next is True Romance. Widescreen version. Chapter stops. No extras with this at all. Is this like a director's cut? Yes, unrated director's cut, which I've not actually watched. I've seen the movie before, but not actually watched this LaserDisc. I need to sit down and go through some of these. Deep Rising, widescreen release, Dolby Digital sound, regular chapter stops, no theatrical trailer. Pretty good picture transfer. It did get re-released on DVD and Blu-ray, so yeah, the Blu-ray release is not too bad. Comes with some new extra material. But yeah, worth getting hold of though if you see it floating around on eBay. I think there is a DTS version of this, and it's pretty pricey. Empire of the Sun, Spielberg's classic from late 80s with young Christian Bale. Gatefold sleeve, not too bad. I think it may come with a making of actually. Yeah, side 4, The China Odyssey, Empire of the Sun, a film by Steven Spielberg. Yes, I presume that's the making of. Yeah, widescreen version as well. Next up is Cape Fear, widescreen release by Universal. There's no chapter stops on this, weirdly. Well, it's not advertised on the back. I don't think there is actually any. Weirdly, I don't know why they did that. Not even any production notes really. So it's just a very kind of slapped out, put out on the format in widescreen. Next up is Superman 3, the widescreen release. Came out at the same time as Superman 2 widescreen version. Comes with a trailer as well. Nice sleeve, and the picture transfer is not too bad. The picture's better than the Superman 2 one, but the sound isn't quite as dynamic. But thankfully the Blu-ray, is the best version to get hold of. And I've just done a retrospective on this as well. Crazy. Yeah. Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, DTS version, incredible sound mix, amazing. There is a signature collection with all the extras and commentary, which are ported over to the DVD. Yeah, so the best thing about it is just having the meaty sound mix, which is why I've kept it, because it was just so impressive, and it's a great movie despite the story being most of it very fictional. This is an odd title, Richard Edlund, LaserDisc, about his movies he's worked on. We've got things like Ghostbusters and I think like 2010 Space, or not, no, the sequel to 2001, 2010. Yeah, so loads of behind the scenes stuff. I need to transfer this to my computer so I can use some of the footage. I think someone's already done that actually, so I might just use that. Yeah, Japanese put out some weird LaserDiscs, and you get on things like this. We have interviews with special effects guys, which is quite cool, really. Next up is Boogie Nights. There is a Criterion collection of this. I've only got the regular version with double digital sound and widescreen, and yeah, I think there's production notes on the back, and some chapter stops. Yeah, very good movie. Very good film. I've not seen it in a while there, so I need to go back to it. It's directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, so, you know, it does make great movies. Next up is Speed, the widescreen version, just stereo sound. I think they may have re-released it with a double digital soundtrack at some point. I could be wrong, but yeah, just chapter stops and some production notes on the back. Next up is Wolf, the deluxe widescreen version. Yeah, no extra features, just production notes on the back. Quite a few actually, quite a few on this version. This title is prone to laser rot. There's two releases. One that has yellow font, that's often the ones that have laser rot. The ones with the white fonts are the ones that are done by a different pressing plant, I believe. Next up is Daylight. I own this twice on the format. We've got the box set coming up later. Yeah, standard release, double digital soundtrack, very impressive sound mix. I think there's a DTS version which is a little bit more dynamic, and some information on the back there. No extra features, just widescreen and double digital. Next up is Tombstone. Director's edition comes with behind the scenes look at several outtakes hosted by the director. I don't think it comes with a commentary. And he has a commentary on the deleted scenes essentially. And yeah, widescreen and some kind of information stuff on the back. Many rumours say that Kurt Russell directed this movie, really. I'm not sure that's entirely true, but I suppose maybe I should do a retrospective on this at some point and sort of dig deeper into its production. Next up is Leviathan. No chapter stops on this film, weirdly. Very good transfer though. I was so impressed with this for a late 80s release. This MGM title was just very, very impressive, and some information on the back there. Nothing else spectacular, just widescreen and stereo sound mix. Next up is the widescreen version of Predator. Chapter stops, widescreen of course, Dolby Surround, production notes on the back. Picture transfer is not too bad, it's a bit muddy, not muddy, sorry, it's a bit dusty and dirty in places, like the print they've transferred isn't particularly clean. But it's just nice to have, really. It's quite a common title and it goes for pretty cheap. Next up is the extended version of The Abyss on LaserDisc. Comes with AC3 sound, so it's remastered and includes the making of the movie and production notes inside and detailing which scenes were extended. Yeah, sort of mixed movie, isn't it, really? It's the one sort of Cameron film that didn't really explode when it hit the big screen. I think it lost quite a bit of money, and people are still desperate for a remaster. And so many people have asked me to review this. I'm like, well, there's only a DVD release, which is, I believe, non-anamorphic. I think the same transfer as this. So there is an HD version on Netflix, but you know, I'd rather wait till it gets properly remastered and so forth. But yeah, common title. Next up is Hot Shots Part 2, pan and scan release. This has got laser rot. So I've only kept it really just to sort of demonstrate sort of what laser rot would look like if I do a video in future on the format. It's got some production notes on the back as well. Yeah, pan and scan release. Nothing particularly spectacular about it. Next up is Sneakers, widescreen release, starring Robert Redford and Dan Aykroyd. Very good movie. Obviously dealing with sort of, you know, espionage and, you know, hacking during the 90s, so it's kind of quite cheesy and dated now, but it's directed very well, actually, from the same director as Field of Dreams, so I need to rewatch this again at some point. Next up is Honey, I Blew Up the Kids. This was part of a lot I got years ago, so I don't think I've even watched this. so I don't know what the picture's like, but it's just a kind of standard widescreen with Dolby Surround and a few chapter stops. I think some of these do come with like a Roger Rabbit cartoon. Maybe it's the first one. Yeah, here we go. One on the side there, it tells me. But yeah, very common title. I've only seen a little bit of this movie growing up. I didn't think it was that spectacular. Animated short, Off His Rockers, so I presume that's a Roger Rabbit cartoon, like it advertises on this one. See there. I think there's 3 or 4 cartoons of Roger Rabbit they put on these releases, well, VHS releases of other movies. Yeah, there's no chapter stops on this, it says. Just a widescreen. I think it might be pan and scan as well. Yeah, pan and scan release of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Ah, Addams Family Values. Great sleeve, look at that. It really stands out. Nothing particularly special about this one either. Great movie though, very funny, far better than the first movie. This one was really good. And it's a shame because at the time, I remember, well, I read back, like some of the crew and the cast knew that Raul Julia was kind of getting ill, he's losing weight. Then he made Street Fighter, then sadly passed away before that film came out. Ah, another 48 Hours. I've still not watched this to LaserDisc. It came as a job lot years ago. Apparently, this was on Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert's list of the worst movies of 1989, I believe. No, 1990. So, yeah. Maybe I should give it a go. I really enjoyed the first one. But yeah, it's not a bad cover actually for this. Quite a nice sleeve. Next up is Johnny Mnemonic, the Japanese release. Extended version. I think has slightly different soundtrack as well, from what I remember. And some sort of production notes inside. So this was ported over to, I think there was the German special edition had the transfer of this, I believe, as an extra. So it's basically including the deleted scenes. So yeah, not a common title, but not particularly expensive either. Schindler's List. Now this is a great movie. Difficult to watch because of the subject matter. Very sad film, fantastic score. I think it's a weird kind of sleeve on this one. So the disc is inside this bit here. No extras on this, I believe. I think it might come with a making of. Just a widescreen version, really. Yeah, no extras. I think the only extras they did do a box set, which basically included the book, I think, and a soundtrack, and possibly a making of, but there isn't like a proper special edition version of this film on this format, but it's been re-released. I do have it on the 4K Blu-ray as well, which I still need to get around to seeing, but it's a long film and you're going to end up very upset by the end. Next up is Stephen Norrington's film Death Machine, the first movie he ever did. Then he did Blade, then some other weird movie, then he did The Extraordinary Legal Gentleman, then retired. I've still not seen this film. Great gatefold cover with some production photos inside. Comes with a trailer and it's widescreen and stereo surround sound. I recall Richard Stanley saying this was kind of a rip-off of his movie Hardware, so it'll be interesting to see the sort of parallels between that, sort of comparisons. But yeah, very cool cover, so I need to sit down and give this a go soon. Next up is Crimson Tide, great movie by Tony Scott, starring Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington. Theatrical trailer and making of included, Dolby Digital surround sound, very good picture on this, so worth getting hold of if you see it going cheap. Fantastic movie. I need to watch this again. Next up is The Phantom. Dolby Digital sound, THX transfer, widescreen release. No extra features, just chapter stop. Guilty pleasure movie, not spectacular, but well shot and good production design. Bit weird though, still seeing the Phantom running around the jungle in a purple outfit. Fantastic disguise. Next up is Rumble in the Bronx, starring Jackie Chan. Extended, what was it? No, just a widescreen version and a stereo sound and regular chapter stops. Nothing extended in scenes or anything like that. Well, it comes with the regular outtakes at the end with Jackie hurting I think he broke his ankle in that movie. Next up is Ace Ventura. Widescreen version includes a few extra scenes, essentially. What was it? I think he does an impression of a dolphin or something like that. It's so funny, but it wasn't in the UK cut for some reason. It's in the US version. But yeah, not a bad transfer, a little bit noisy, but yeah, I've watched this so many times. Great movie. Next up is The Postman, the failed kind of, you know, it's supposed to be sort of return to him directing like a big epic like Dances with Wolves. This was a massive bomb. Not a bad movie, just way too long, and the premise is a little bit, it's a bit of a pretentious film. But something I need to go back to really. I don't think it comes, it comes with AC3 stereo, Dolby Digital, and it's in widescreen, so nothing else extra included. And it's got a bit of laser rot as well, it's annoying. Next up is Judge Dredd, Stallone's Judge Dredd. Terrible cover, I think Stallone slapped on the front cover, awful. I think the PAL version's got a better picture, and the, maybe there wasn't a PAL one. I think the Japanese one just got him with the mask on. That's far better. Just a Dolby Digital stereo mix, THX, chapter stops, fantastic picture transfer though. Really good, looks glorious. Shame about the movie though. It's guilty pleasure to some, and some despise it. Next up is Basic Instinct. This was a sort of job lot title I got. Still not sat through this yet. Pan and scan version. No extras. I don't think there's any chapter stops either. Yeah, maybe I should give it a go at some point. But most people think this film's terrible now, despite its kind of praise at the time. Next up is Interview with the Vampire. Gatefold release, I believe. Yes, it is. Oh God, hit myself in the face there. Yeah, not bad. No extras, just chapter stops, AC3 stereo, widescreen. And at the end, the best part of the movie is when you see Brad Pitt in a cinema watching Superman the movie. Next up is Highlander, The Final Dimension, or the third one, or it's, I think other countries, what was it called? Had a different sort of subtitle, basically. Yeah, it's extended version, just a few extra scenes, but you know, it doesn't make the movie any better. It's sort of a weak remake of the first one. And I think the director obviously was known for music videos. I think he returned to doing that really, hasn't redirected any more big movies. But this is obviously far better than Highlander 2. This is an interesting cover, this one, and sleeve. This is Silence of the Lambs, and has one of these weird casings, as you can see there, like that. A lot of the Muse high definition LaserDiscs, which are kind of the 1080i, whatever it is, versions come with these cases, so it's like a giant CD case. Yeah, I kept this just because of the novelty of it, but I've got the Criterion version of this film. Great movie, as we all know. This LaserDisc sadly has a bit of laser rot on side B, but yeah, very cool case nonetheless. Next up is Copland, fantastic movie starring Stallone, Robert De Niro, and Andy Garcia, and Harvey Keitel. Comes with audio commentary and Dolby Digital soundtrack, and some bonus material on chapter 16. Very good film, and a very good transfer as well. Very close to DVD, to be honest. Next up is Bean the Movie. I don't know why I bought this. I like Mr. Bean, of course, but I think I just got it because it was going cheap, and I recall, that was it. I recall I had the DVD version of Bean, and it was a terrible picture transfer. It's awful. This was far better. So yeah, nothing spectacular, just Dolby Digital sound and in widescreen. Okay, next up is Karate Cap. Still not seen this movie. It stars David Carradine. I'm sure it's probably so bad it's good. Pan and scan release, no chapter stops apparently on the back. I should sit down and watch this with Stuart Ashton at some point. It could prove to be hilarious or thunderously boring. I don't know. We'll find out. Next up is Millennium, a film I still not sat down and watched yet. I've heard a lot about it. Some say it's terrible, some say it's kind of really funny and quite enjoyable in places. Yeah, I should really sit down and give this a go. I'm not a fan of the cover. Those kind of like, just the LaserDisc in the background and the poster slapped over the middle. Yeah, it's kind of late 80s releases, early 90s ones, which, you know, they haven't really got the design right at that point. Next up is Falling Down, starring Michael Douglas. Great movie, widescreen transfer, chapter stops, no extras. Yeah, one of Joel Schumacher's better movies, I think. You know, when people sort of talk about his career, does this bring up Batman and Forever and Batman and Robin? It's like, he's done some really good films outside of those Batman films, and this is one of them. Next up is Lawnmower Man, the extended cut of the movie. Sadly, it's got a bit of laser rot on side B. I've got the Shout Factory or Scream Factory kind of release, so it doesn't really bother me. Production notes on the back, pan and scan version, I believe. It's not widescreen, and it has some information about the. On this, it has a look. It says based on a story by Stephen King, which I believe they got him to remove. He got them to remove that because it bears no resemblance to his book. But yeah, cool disc nonetheless. Next up is The Hudsucker Proxy. Fantastic movie, completely bombed when it came out. This comes with stereo mix and widescreen picture. Yeah, I need to watch this movie again because it's one of my favourite Coen Brothers movies. Really good. Next is Night at the Roxbury. Very late release actually, 98 really. 99 is kind of the late sort of US versions, or 2000s I suppose. But yeah, it's surprisingly no Dolby Digital soundtrack on this. I think it would have benefited from that because the film is all about the night, the club scene. So obviously Jim Carrey not in it, part of the Saturday Night Live sketch, but still very, very funny, and I've seen it so many times. Next up is True Lies. Dolby Digital release, widescreen, comes with a trailer and a gatefold, which has some great sort of production notes in there as well. There's a DTS version and a pan and scan version approved by James Cameron, because it's shot in Super 35, so if you've got a pan and scan version, it's not a major problem. I'm sure the picture transfer would look lovely with pan and scan. Yeah, very common title, very easy to get hold of. Next up is the signature collection of Street Fighter, the movie. Got this kind of fairly recently, sealed as well at the time. Production notes as well. Inside, all the extras you can get on the DVD and Blu-ray, commentary, making of featurette and stuff like that. Yeah, good. The best thing about it is actually, despite the film being cheesy schlock, is the commentary by Stevie D'Souza. Really, really good. A common laser-rotted title, Air Force One. Great movie. But yeah, very difficult to find clean on the format. So I kept this down to the purposes of showing laser rot in future. Production notes on the back, which is quite handy. Columbia Pictures often did that. But yeah, sadly, I would avoid this if you can get, if you see it on the format. Maybe get the Japanese release if you see it going cheap. Next is 2000 Leagues Under the Sea, the exclusive archive collection from Disney. I tried giving this film a go. I just couldn't get into it. It was just too slow, despite the quality of the production. Great presentation though. Look at that. That is really good sleeve. I mean, this is the beauty of LaserDisc, really. Disney ones always look nice on the format, and comes with obviously a few extras as well. Next is The Truman Show, one of my favourite movies. I've seen it so many times. Widescreen, Dolby Digital release, chapter stops, no extras, just a standard Paramount version with some, no production notes on the back, just a little blurb about the film. Underrated classic, Long Kiss Goodnight, Dolby Digital release with chapter stops and widescreen version. Very funny movie, great script by Shane Black and direction by Rennie Harlin. Shame it bombed really, but I'm sure it's made its money back over the years because it's a stone cold classic. Next up is The Right Stuff. Look at that cover. Now that is a nice design. Perfect use of the poster. Chapter stops. Very long film, 193 minutes. Me and my girlfriend watched this over one afternoon on a Sunday. Yeah, transfer's not too bad on this actually. It's not, it's a 185 movie, so it's not like, excessive scope picture. Yeah, matted widescreen. But yeah, very common title. But you can get it on DVD or Blu-ray pretty cheap anyway, instead of hunting it down on LaserDisc. Bruce Robinson's second movie, How to Get Ahead in Advertising, the Criterion Collection. This film absolutely bombed when it came out. I still have not sat down to watch it. I don't think it's as good, from what I hear, compared to With Nell and I. So it's a Criterion Collection, but I don't think it actually comes with anything. It comes with production notes, original trailer and colour bars for setting your TV. And some information about the transfer, as usual, you get from Criterion Collection. Next up is Clerks, the exclusive letterbox edition. Extra features, audio commentary. Like Kevin Smith was a big fan of LaserDisc. This is, you know, quite a common title, I believe. I've seen it a few times on eBay. I think, yeah, the only one out of these films that didn't get a sort of special edition was Mallrats, and that sort of got ignored by Universal. But yeah, this one thankfully didn't, because it's by a different studio. It's by Miramax release. Oh dear, Escape from LA, the essential remake of Escape from New York. Very standard release on Paramount. Good transfer though, and sound, Dolby Digital and THX. No trailer or anything like that, just a standard chapter stops included, and some, I think there's just a little blurb about the movie as well. No information about the making of. Yeah, there's a new version of this coming out on Blu-ray soon from Shout Factory, but sadly no involvement from Carpenter and Kurt Russell, which is a shame. Next up is the Criterion Collection of RoboCop. Fantastic transfer, really good, amazing artwork. Look at that gatefold sleeve, amazing. Yeah, loads of extras. Of course, they were ported over to the DVD and Blu-ray, but it's just, I kept this because the picture and sound is glorious. Next up is Lost in Space, a movie that I will review in future. Packed with loads of extra features, commentaries, behind-the-scenes featurette, trailers, making of. There's a DTS version as well, quite pricey, but yeah, there's a lot of effort went into this version, this release, sorry, despite the film being, well, a massive departure from the show, leaving many people confused when it came out. Next up is Con Air, fun movie, directed by the chap who directed Expendables 2, wasn't it? Simon West, that was it, British director. We tried to get him actually for the action documentary I did, but he never returned our calls. On the number we were given, this always went to answer phone. It was a shame. Yeah, this chapter stops. THX, I believe. Yep, THX Dolby Digital release. I think this has got a little bit of laser rot on it as well, I recall. Yeah, I need to rewatch this movie anyway, because it is a lot of fun. Next up is Mortal Kombat. This is the only version to have a commentary on the movie. The subsequent DVD and Blu-rays don't. The commentary is done by the producer and one of the FX artists. It comes with trailers and TV spots. And I think the PAL version comes with the making of, but this one doesn't. Yeah, very good release, good picture and sound. Also a DTS version available, but that sounds quite quiet. This one's far more aggressive and impressive to show off to your friends. Next up is the DTS version of Rush Hour. Very good movie, very funny. I think the sequel's a bit better. Comes with commentary, isolated score by the composer, and a commentary track by him as well, a featurette and deleted scenes and a trailer. Yeah, very good release, very good transfer as well. So there's sort of late ones like 98, 99. I mean, they're getting very close to DVD quality really when you compare the two. This is the only PAL title I own. I got given it for free because some guy shipped a title and he, to sort of protect the disc, he just threw in a PAL copy of Top Gun, weirdly. The PAL discs often came with, I think, more robust sleeves, stronger cardboard. But yeah, it's, you know, I can't play it back because my player only does NTSC. And you can always tell the PAL ones because they have the widescreen logos different, and also on the back it will just say PAL in bold letters. So yeah, it won't work on your NTSC player. Next up is Virtuosity from the director of Lawnmower Man. It's the second copy I own because the other one had laser rot. Dolby Digital sound. That's about it, and some chapter stops, widescreen release. Okay movie, not particularly impressive. I should maybe give it another go, rewatch it. It is something I've been tempted to review. A lot of people have asked for it in the past. Next up is Howard Stern and Private Parts. Very funny comedy, Dolby Digital release, obviously about his career as a sort of disc jockey. Yeah, it's a very common title, good transfer and sound as well. No extras, no, just chapter stops. Next up is Batman the movie, widescreen release, good transfer, loads of chapter stops. Obviously Warner Brothers released the VHS and LaserDisc very quickly after the theatrical release, upsetting a lot of cinema owners. Yeah, worth getting hold of. It's pretty cheap, very common title. The DTS version of Mimic. Very good sound mix, very good transfer as well. No extras, I'm afraid, just chapter stops and a bit of information about the story, really. Yeah, very good transfer and sound, so worth getting hold of if you can find a DTS version for a good price. Next up is Stallone's Cliffhanger. This has been released on LaserDisc a number of times because it had, I believe it has sort of some financing from Pioneer as well, so this one has all the extras included down the side here, which have been re-released over the years, and a very interesting gatefold sleeve. See there? Just three, look at that. Now that is pretty spectacular. It's not one of my favourite transfers actually. I was never happy with the picture transfer for this movie. Wasn't until the 4K, well, the 4K release really of Cliffhanger, where it actually looked fantastic. It always looked a bit, I don't know, it always looked a bit too washed out, the picture did. Never looked as sharp as it could. There's a Muse version of this, and there's a Squeeze LaserDisc as well. I believe there's a Muse, I'm sure there is. But yeah, I mean, it's quite a common title as well. So if if you're a fan of Cliffhanger and want it just for the cool sleeve, then I would suggest grabbing hold of it. Next up is Under Siege. Somewhat enjoyable action movie by Andrew Davis. No extras, widescreen version, I believe. Yes, it is. The sequel's, I think the sequel's a bit more entertaining because it's so silly. But yeah, it's kind of a classic movie from the 90s, sort of boosted Seagal's career, but everything after this really was just kind of they just weren't very good. So I've never really been a fan of Seagal, to be honest. But yeah, this is a common title, clean LaserDisc as well, no laser up. Next up is A Jewel of the Nile, the sequel to Romancing the Stone. Nowhere near as good as the first movie. Pan and scan release, no chapter stops, and a stereo sound. So yeah, one of those kind of late 80s kind of Fox direct to LaserDisc sort of titles. Nothing spectacular about it. Clear and Present Danger, Harrison Ford, THX release, Dolby Digital sound. I don't think, yes it is widescreen, yes, sorry I thought it was a pan and scan. Yeah, not too bad, not too shabby. This version, I don't think I've watched his LaserDisc actually. I think I've seen, was it Patriot Games? I think, was it Patriot Games, the first one to have Dolby Digital sound, I believe. Maybe it was this, I just can't remember. I think it was the first one. Now this is something you need in your collection if you've got a LaserDisc player. Really essentials to basically balance the picture quality, and I always do the picture stuff, not the sound stuff, but yeah, it's recommended you get one of these to sort out the colour, brightness and sharpness really to get the best results. Yeah, these aren't that common, I'm afraid, so you may have to sort of wait around for them to pop up on eBay. Next up is Under Siege 2. Like Air Force One, this is prone to laser rot. I've kept this because it's got laser rot. You can never really tell if it's got laser rot sometimes. Sometimes it's the smell. You kind of figure out it smells a bit like, there's a weird kind of glue smell to it. You think, oh, that might have laser rot. But yeah, sometimes you can see like marks on the disc where laser rot's kicked in, but it's completely clean. But yeah, the picture's fucked. So yeah, I should really bin it at some point. Next up is Twister, widescreen version with Dolby Digital sound and theatrical trailer. Yeah, 2 trailers it comes with. This was a title they used a lot in to demo the format in the 90s to show off Dolby Digital, because it's like one of those sort of rocking sound mixes. The PAL version obviously didn't have Dolby Digital, so everyone was kind of desperate to get those NTSC sort of PAL combo players so they can experience the surround sound mix. Next up is Spawn, the director's cut. I believe this is put onto DVD and Blu-ray over the years. It says it, yeah, director's cut. I mean, I think it's just been extended by a few minutes. Nothing really noteworthy. Comes with audio commentary as well by the director and some of the visual effects artists, probably explaining why the effects look so shit. But yeah, as you can see. I think there's another version of this on the format as well. I think maybe with DTS perhaps. The Firm. Great Tom Cruise movie, really good film, directed by Sidney Pollack. Chapter stops, good transfer and sound, this is, you know, this is a standard sort of Paramount Pictures release, really. Nothing to, you know, complain about, really. Next up is Blown Away. This has been very, actually, look at the back. There's a lot of cool sort of design to it all. A lot of text as well. Deluxe letterbox, I don't think comes, yeah, DTS stereo surround. So it's not DTS like 5.1, but DTS sort of Pro Logic. Comes with a theatrical trailer, and it's also, yeah, on widescreen. There's no, it's not a gatefold release. Directed by Stephen Hopkins, who directed Predator 2 and Lost in Space, and also contains one of the worst Irish accents by Tommy Lee Jones. Not a very good film, to be honest. I tried giving it a go, just wasn't that impressed with it. Next up is Clive Barker's Lord of Illusions, director's cut. Kinds of obviously commentary and documentary on the film. Nice gatefold sleeve as well. Picture and sound is very good. Yeah, I still need to watch this movie. I've still not seen it. Fucking, ugh, silly me. Look at that. There we go. Up next is the pan and scan version of RoboCop 3. I got this cheap, just sort of picked it up because I thought, well, I wonder what the picture's like on it, and it's actually very nice. Very common title as well. The PAL version is in widescreen. Weirdly, the US version was only in pan and scan, where Japan and the UK market had it in widescreen. Weird. Next up is Home Alone, the widescreen version. Chapter stops and some production notes on the back. Very muddy transfer, never liked it. I don't think the film looked good at all until the Blu-ray release. I think the other transfers were just very subpar. Next up is Chuck Norris's Hellbound, which I've still not seen. I need to give this a go. Canon Video as well. Directed by Aaron Norris, I believe is Chuck Norris's brother. Yeah. My dad was a big fan of Chuck Norris. I wasn't particularly, to be honest. You know, he was, you know, it's just his choice of movies. He wasn't a brilliant actor, but he was a fantastic martial artist, or is still. Next up is Good Will Hunting. Fantastic movie. Absolutely love this film. No extra features, just widescreen version. Very good transfer as well. Oh, what's this? Another version of Lawnmower Man. I think this is the Hong Kong version. I believe. Yeah, English version with Chinese subtitles. Yeah, very good transfer actually. I quite enjoyed that. I watched it one afternoon when I was sort of doing some writing and just shoved it on because I didn't have the Blu-ray at the time, or the extended version, which I showed you guys earlier. But yeah, not bad. I'll probably get rid of this. I'll probably get rid of this at some point. Give it to a friend or something. Men in Black, rot-free copy. This is very well. It's a title that is heavy on laser rot, but this is a Pioneer pressing, nice and clean, and some production information on the back. I never knew about this kind of, you know, it had laser rot, this film, because I just grabbed it when I got into the format. But luckily, I purchased a clean version. Yeah, it comes with a music video, I believe. Yeah, and Dolby Digital sound or not? Yes, it does. Columbia Pictures, I mean, despite their titles having laser rot, their transfers were so good. Really nice picture transfers. Next up is The Rocketeer, special widescreen version. Includes a trailer. That's about it. Fantastic movie. I just hope one day they actually do a proper remaster and, you know, give it a proper making of. Next up is Dusk Till Dawn. Fantastic release. One of the early titles I grabbed for the format. Great gatefold sleeve. Loads of extras on this. Yeah, worth getting hold of because the picture and sound is really good. My finger caught there. Yeah, I think there's a DTS version as well. Next up is The Godfather. Classic movie. Only one I own from the set. I've got the Blu-rays somewhere, I believe. Gatefold cover. Picture is not too bad. It's a little bit grainy, I thought. A bit of edge enhancement as well, which often comes with THX stuff. This includes some interviews as well with Coppola, Al Pacino and Mario Puzo. Yeah, long film, but bloody good. Next up is The Rock, many people's favourite Michael Bay movie. It's got Michael Biehn in it as well, a small role. Dolby Digital sound, THX picture, chapter stops, that's about it. Nothing else particularly special. Maybe there is Maybe there is a Criterion version of this. I'm not entirely, I can't remember. But yeah, this was a popular film at the time and still is popular today, I suppose, with fans of action. Next up is The Nutty Professor. Very good movie. I still find it funny. Chapter stops. I think there may be a DTS version of this. Yeah, this is one of those early titles I got as well. This has lasted me for years. Still works really well. There's a mark on there. Yeah, great film. Next up is Tomorrow Never Dies. Great picture transfer, Dolby Digital sound, includes a trailer. Sadly, MGM didn't do a special edition of this like GoldenEye, just a standard release. I think there's a DTS version as well of this film. The last Bond film was The World Is Not Enough on the format, which is released in Japan, which is bloody expensive. Next up is Aladdin, widescreen version, CAV version of it. CAV is basically half an hour per side, but you can do perfect pause and step by step, you know, through the film. Or CLV, which is 60 minutes. So this is kind of extended play. Or standard play, sorry. Yeah, I don't think it comes with any extras, I don't think. Nice gatefold sleeve though. This comes with a trailer and THX picture. So yeah, I thought the picture was okay on this. I thought it was a bit, I thought it was a little bit too soft, I thought. It didn't particularly wow me when I saw it. Next up is Time Cop, DTS version. Great Van Damme movie, very silly view of the future. You know, the cars all look stupid. No extras, just comes in widescreen and DTS sound. And I've kept it because it's Time Cop, of course, and it's DTS. Next up is The Mask, the special edition. Dolby Digital sound, comes with commentary, extras, and making of. Loads of sort of production notes inside as well. I need to watch this movie again. Very funny film. Yeah, just the bits when he sort of, you know, they got him at gunpoint. He starts turning into Elvis, and then he turns to a cowboy and he like farts and just goes, "Pardon me." Yeah, very funny film. Criterion collection of Silence of the Lambs. Thankfully, because the other one I had laser rot, pan and scan. This one's proper collector's edition from Criterion. Production notes, loads of extras as well. Next up is Al Pacino in Carlito's Way. Great transfer and sound. Just a Dolby surround track, THX picture. Fantastic score. Who was it done by then? The composer, the Scottish guy. What was his name? Patrick Doyle. That's it. The bit where he's chasing, he's getting chased on the underground. Really good score. Really impressive. Next up is Highlander 2, the theatrical cut in widescreen. Obviously, this is the visual version, so it's a really silly ending and silly premise of them being from planet Zeist. Surprisingly good picture transfer, really good. And oddly, no chapter stops. But yeah, I got this going cheap. I thought, oh, I'll just have it, you know. It's very cool. I love that cover though. I want that as a poster, fuck it. Despite the film being a load of old shit. That's a great fucking poster. Right, okay, next up is the signature collection of Liar Liar. Gatefold cover, production notes, and you know, all the extras that you'd find on DVD, you know, audio commentary, outtakes and trailer and making of and so forth. Yeah, pretty good film, very funny. It's sort of when Jim Carrey was trying to get out that sort of, at this point, drew more serious roles. So it's kind of the last of his kind of 90s silly performances. Then he went, you know, did like the Truman Show and so forth. Next up is Nowhere to Run, a great Van Damme movie. No kicks in this, just punches from Van Damme, surprisingly. Loads of production notes on the back. Really interesting stuff on there about the director and the original writer, Richard Marquand, who was going to direct it, who did Return of the Jedi, but he died a few years before this film came out. Had a heart attack, I believe. Yeah, good, no laser rot, clean transfer from Columbia. Oh, as I mentioned earlier about Fist of the North Star, this is the US version. Terrible, look at that cover, it's so shit. Yeah, chapter stops, just widescreen version, same transfer as the Japanese one. Yeah, so it's, yeah, not particularly special. I'll probably sell this at some point. This is a random oddity. History of Warner Brothers up until about the early 90s, so it focuses on the studio from the beginnings to now. So it covers, got Clint Eastwood doing the voiceover, I believe, and it covers like, you know, the thing I liked about it was the 80s stuff. So it's got Lethal Weapon and Superman the movie in there, and the 70s, of course, with The Exorcist. Yeah, interesting release. Right, next up is Robin Hood, Men in Tights. Not particularly funny. There's a few good gags in it. And the guy's like he pesters the priest. He just goes, "Hey Albert," and he just goes, "I hate that guy." And the bits when they're doing a montage of training with Robin Hood's trying to train them to fire an arrow, and his reactions are quite amusing. But it's mostly a bit crap. Comes with a commentary by Mel Brooks, widescreen, and some production notes on the back. Oh, it's a classic movie, Criterion Collection of Spinal Tap. Comes with a pick. Just like the album, really, it's just all black, you know. Comes with extras, obviously, with commentaries and behind the scenes stuff, and a gatefold sleeve as well. Look at that, that is really cool. Great movie, great release as well. Definitely get hold of it if you've got a LaserDisc player. Dun, dun, dun. Wayne's World 2 widescreen version, standard release from Paramount. Chap stops, nothing else included. Pretty funny film. I don't know if this is better than the first one. I can't remember. I've not seen it for a long time, but I did watch this quite a lot when I was younger. Always an odd one. Here we go. The massive box office bomb, Slipstream, starring Mike Hamill. The only widescreen release of the movie. It's not been re-released on DVD or Blu-ray. I believe might be a bootleg of it on DVD or some sort of German release. Yeah, transfer's not particularly brilliant either, to be honest. Okay movie. The poster was amazing for the film, but the poster didn't really reflect what the film was like. Yeah, director of Tron. I think it's one of the last movies he directed, possibly, because it was such a fucking disaster. And Gary Kurtz lost loads of money, the producer. Widescreen release of Forrest Gump, includes a making of. Dolby Digital sound, which Dolby Digital track isn't that impressive, to be honest. Gatefold release, but it's in this really tight plastic sleeve. I can't get it out, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. But yeah, fantastic movie. I love this film, and it's always quite sad at the end when he talks to his wife when she's passed away. He talks about how talented his son is. Yeah, always gets me. Next up is Mallrats, the widescreen release, universal standard release of the film. Chap stops, stereo surround track. Yeah, as I said earlier, this film never got a special edition on the format until it came to DVD. Next up is Toy Story. This is a transfer to 35mm print. I think the DVD came from a digital source, so it had a better picture. There is a box set of this film, a CAV box set with loads of stuff. It varies in price. Sometimes it's quite affordable, like £30. Some people want to charge like £90 to £100. Yeah, out of the three, I mean, I prefer this one over number 2, but number 3 is definitely the best. Obviously there's number 4 as well, which I forgot about, but number 4 is okay. I think the weakest for me is number 2. A lot of people love number 2, but I didn't particularly. Yeah, common title, nice picture and sound as well. Home Alone 2, another a bit of a ratty sort of cover there as well. Chap stops, production notes on the back, and widescreen release. Transfer not particularly impressive either. Okay movie, it's not brilliant. The first one's better, but the best part about it is watching him scream at the end when all the pigeons attack him. So funny. Next up is the signature collection of Daylight, which I grabbed fairly recently actually to grab some of the extras off the Blu-ray, because the PAL one didn't have the extras on it, weirdly, or the UK release. Yeah, nice gatefold sleeve. Rob Cohen was a big supporter of the format, so always 90s movies had signature collection releases. Dragonheart and Bruce Lee and so forth. Yeah. Next up is Braveheart, Mel Gibson's kind of very popular movie from the 90s. Gatefold sleeve as well. This is quite an interesting sleeve actually, the cover. It's kind of weird bits here to slide it in easy. I've never seen these ones being sold actually, these gatefold sleeves. But yeah, Dolby Digital sound. I don't think it comes with a trailer. No, nothing. But yeah, nice sleeve though. Next up is a Laser Rock free copy of Bad Boys. Yeah, great movie. Reviewed it a couple of months ago. Sorry. Comes with no extras, just extensive production notes on the back, and nice transfer as well. Fantastic sound mix on this, despite it not being in Dolby Digital. Next up is the Full Moon Entertainment release of Oblivion. Pan and scan release. No chapter stops on this, oddly. It must be. From '94, so there must be some chapter stops on this film. I've still not sat down and watched this. Weirdly, it looks like Brave Star, doesn't it? Some sort of sci-fi kind of western, probably done on the cheap, which Full Moon did. You know, sort of straight to video kind of movies. Oh, next up are two Aardman LaserDiscs. Wallace and Gromit, the Grand Day Out, Wrong Trousers, and a Close Shave on LaserDisc. Picture transfer is really nice. Obviously, because they're pan and scan, you know, titles or 4x3, how they're shot. Chapter stops. Yeah, very cool. And last one of that is the Aardman short animations, which has the sort of talking pandas and stuff, which is really funny. And yeah, some of the early work of Aardman. So yeah, very nice title. And finally, at the end of this LaserDisc collection video, we're going to show off the box sets I have. Through the power of editing, these box sets have just appeared. Now, we have a signature collection of Dragonheart. Number of discs this, it's sort of CAV, so, because obviously 30 minutes per side, you've got more discs to go through, so they come in these kind of big box sets. Obviously all the extras you can find on the DVD comes with a nice booklet on the film. As you can see here, very nice release. Pictures not too bad actually, so it's a bit overly red and orange in places, but it's a nice sound mix as well. That one done. Oh, this is a beast. Tron, absolute glorious release of Tron. To the back of it, as you can see. Let's get this open. Loads of discs with this, and again comes with a nice booklet. So if you're a fan of Tron collector, this needs to be in your collection. Very nice insert as well, and plenty of extras. Nice transfer actually on this, but you know, the DVD you can get is chock full of everything, so there's no point paying huge amounts for the Tron LaserDisc. Oliver Stone's Nixon. Okay movie. I thought the performance of Anthony Hopkins was a bit weird for Nixon. I think there's been other actors play the famous politician better. I think probably Frank Langella. I don't know why it's come in this massive box set. This comes with an interview, and it's this kind of extended version of the film, I believe. But yeah, it's kind of unnecessary to be in this ginormous box set. But yeah, it doesn't really sort of indicate any sort of extra stuff that comes with it. Next up is Lawrence of Arabia. I used to have a director's cut of this, not director's cut, just a remastered version, but it had laser rot. I don't think this has laser rot. I don't recall. It's got some notes about the reconstruction of Lawrence of Arabia. This was obviously a late 80s release, I believe. Some extra notes in there, nothing else. But yeah, I got this pretty cheap, so there's loads of information on the back there. I think Spielberg had some involvement with this, or maybe it was later on. But yeah, it's a CAV version, so it's why it's so heavy and there's so many discs to it. Next up is Psycho, a signature collection. Comes with a bunch of discs, making of, and what have I got in here? Nice fold out insert, production notes on there, and includes re-release trailer, newsreel footage, the shower scene with and without music, production notes, behind the scenes stuff, publicity photos and so forth. So yeah, fantastic movie, as we all know, classic film, and does have a good sequel. Psycho 2 is a very good film. And finally, we come to Star Wars. We've got the 1997 release of the special editions. Very good picture transfers. These were going so cheap in the late 90s when I think they made too many. And they're just getting rid of these because these were really expensive at first, and then they started selling them off cheap. This comes with a booklet. Where has it gone? It's right at the bloody bottom as well. Oh, there it is. It's hiding there. Come to me. There we go. So yeah, this comes with a little booklet about the remasters. Yeah, everyone was obviously hyped up when they saw the new footage, but you know, didn't add anything really to the film. And as we all know, you know, George has gone back to his films many a times and not given us the theatrical cuts, which is a shame. But yeah, nonetheless, a very good release on LaserDisc and very common and very cheap to get hold of. So don't let anyone charge you too much for it because it's not worth it. And finally, the heaviest beast of all, the Star Wars Definitive Collection. So this is the last of the theatrical releases released on LaserDisc. Comes with loads of extras. God, it weighs a ton. Comes with a book. This book was sold separately. Let's get that out. Let's get all this shit out of here. Yeah, so this book here has got a nice sort of TIE fighter on the front there. And as I said, it was released as a separate book, which has George Lucas on the front cover, with kind of arms folded, with very sort of sunset design. It's basically about the productions at, you know, Lucasfilm. So yeah, very cool sort of things to include with the set, because it makes up for basically the lack of really meaty special features. Sort of the booklet it comes with, it tells you about the remasters at the time, which I thought was quite interesting. Tells you about sort of the sound formats, like 35mm sound and 70mm mixes, and how they mixed it all for the this kind of remaster at the time. It comes with audio commentaries, but they're very sparse. There's sort of big gaps in between each chapter, so you'll be listening to the movie and there'll be no one talking for ages. So for Star Wars, you know, for extra stuff, basically, I think they include, yeah, there's loads of photos of production information, and then there's kind of little interviews with people like Dennis Muren and the sound people, but it's always, it does feel a little bit lightweight on what you get. It's a little bit lazy in terms of extra features. And it was so pricey at the time when it came out, and people were a little bit disappointed, saying it didn't really feel like it was the definitive collection. But yeah, as I say, it's the only way to watch the movies in their theatrical cut, you know, on the format. I probably would get, because these are all CAV as well, so they're sort of, you know, half an hour per side, so you've got to do a lot of changes. But you can get the ones they're called the Faces version, where you've got, you know, A New Hope, you've got Darth Vader's face, and Empire, it's a Stormtrooper, and Return of the Jedi, it's Yoda on the front cover. So I'd suggest get those, because they're just sort of like, saves you swapping the discs out so many times to watch the movie. But yes, that is the end of the video. That is my entire LaserDisc collection. So yeah, some common titles, some somewhat rare, some box sets as well. You know, my collection has changed a lot since, you know, since I started collecting, and I've sold off titles which I've got on, you know, on Blu-ray over the years, because they just take up space and you get a better picture transfer and so forth. So yeah, but anyway, well, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm running out of breath now. My voice is tired. I need to get some lunch on the go. But I may do, you know, a LaserDisc video about the format and the player I've got, and show some sort of examples of the picture quality and the sort of what laser rot looks like. But for now, I hope this video will do. Hope you all enjoyed it anyway. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you all next time.